This is going to be something super simple. This is going to be the D&D 066, the Madame Glam Perfect Black. And this is also going to be the nail art brush that I use to do my nail art. I get this brush from Michael's, or if you guys have a Blick, you can get them at Blick too. So the two dots that I initially make are going to be my reference point for where I want the two humps of the heart to start. The lines that I make connecting to the V are going to be my reference point on where I want the tail of the heart to be, the bottom part, essentially. From here, I go in and I like to make where the top of the heart is and where that connects. By making that line showing me where it connects, I'm able to see what needs to be fixed and where it looks a little bit wonky. Because at first it's always going to look a little uneven, but that's when I start going in with my nail art brush and making the undersides of where I place my dots a little thicker. I also fill it in, and you can see here it's wonky, but you just start filling it out. That's all nail art is just drawing and getting the lines right. I am going to say one small tip. When you're giving the polish onto your nail art brush, the line you want to make, you don't put your brush directly there. You put it a little bit above and you press onto the nail, getting the polish off of the brush and onto the nail. That way, when you move up, you have a little bit of space to work with. You can always do more, you can never go back. So just working in small parts. And you see that here. I'm not going directly where I need to go. I'm going a little bit in front of, pressing down, letting the polish get onto the nail, and taking a step back and looking. I'm putting it not right where it needs to be, but a little bit before. From this point forward is just going to be getting those small details and really perfecting the nail art. Once you get it where you like it, cure it. So this is going to be how I do the eyes. I like to wait till I get a small bubble at the end of my nail art brush. It just makes it so much easier, especially when doing the black hearts, because you really can't go too far outside the white line that you have created for the eye sockets. So you're gonna see me wipe it because it just doesn't look right because I put too much black and it's running out of the white. So just getting a small dot and just placing it on until you get it to look right. And you're gonna see here, I'm gonna get it right. And that's how I like it to look. I like it to be a little bit of white, just how your actual eyes are. Your pupil doesn't cover the entire white part, so to make it more defined and realistic, that's just how I do the eyeballs. So now you're just going to be watching me do it again. I'm going to go in with my dotting tool, create my two dots. Now I'm going to go with my nail art brush and I'm going to be making my V. Once I connect these lines and making the V, I'm going to go in to the other side and make another line. Now I'm starting at the top and making the in-between portion, which is another smaller V connecting the two dots together. So now I'm able to really see the size of my heart. If you want bigger hearts, you place your two dots further apart. That's how you get bigger ones. So now I'm just filling it in, and I'm going to go back in with the dotting tool, and I'm making the round bits of the heart more defined because I didn't like how they were so small and lopsided. So that's what you see me doing here, is really getting those two bubbles together. That way I could come in and round it out and make it more of a plump heart. This part here, cleaning off your brush when you're ready to switch colors, is going to be the most important part. This is a lint-free wipe with a little bit of acetone on it. And in that clear container is also just more acetone. And I'm just wiping my brush until it's absolutely clean. Even if you feel like you have too much polish on your nail art brush, wiping it down like that and just grabbing a new dollop of paint is the best practice, because too much polish on your brush could still fuck up your nail art. And when you're changing colors, especially when you're working with multiple colors, it's a good practice just to wipe clean in between. The thing I am going to say is no color is the same. You can do this color with black and it'd be so much harder to do with pink just because of the consistency or even the brand of polish that you're using. So the technique is going to be the same, but you have to work with polish that's good polish and that's thick and consistency enough that you're able to work with, because some colors are a little bit runnier than others. Even though they're still gel polishes, they're just very different to work with. So sometimes as a nail tech, you have to know your colors and say, okay, I'm not going to grab, like, I know the client wants pink hearts, but you have to grab the colors that you know are thick. And once you start working with more and more colors, you'll know which ones are the better colors to do nail art with, because some of them are either very translucent, very runny, or you have to go over them for the pigment multiple times. And when you're doing nail art, that's how you're going to get a bulkier nail. So working with colors that work for nail art is a very important part to doing this. I'm going in with that red, and I'm spacing my two dots further apart because I want it to essentially be the whole entire bottom part of the nail. So when you want bigger hearts, your dots are more spread apart. That way you can get a more wide look. So now you're gonna be seeing me do the rest of the hearts, and I'm gonna come back once I'm ready to do the eyes, the whites of the eyes and the pupils. So when I'm grabbing my white, you see how I have a little bit of a streak outside of my white paint? I do that because I don't want a whole bunch of white paint on my brush. And I'm laying my brush more sideways because that's why I want the more almond look of the eyes. And that's the best way to do it. If you go into your nail with the idea of you're keeping your nail art brush upright like a pencil, you're going to get a dot. If you turn your brush sideways and lay your dot more sideways, you're going to get more of a line, like a straight across almond. So I'm just going in with just a little bit. I'm just putting the paint on the end of my brush and I'm going in and I'm doing the whites of the eyes. Some of them are you're not gonna have as much space. I think the whole design of this nail art is the eyes are a little bit wonky. They're not perfect. So if you don't like it, before you cure, wipe it off. Try again until you and your client like it. Then you cure it and you're good to go. And now for the pupils, just taking my black. Again, this is the Madam Glam Perfect Black. And just going in and making a small little dot on each one, more or less in the center of the white, and really trying not to go outside of that white because if you do, it's going to look a little wonky. So just trying to keep in mind, keep that black dot inside of the white on the top and on the bottom. Even though these are practice fingers, I do line them up and I take a look and I go back if I feel like I could use more nail art or more designs, I go back and fill those in. When you're working on clients, that's going to be the biggest thing, looking at them all together and see if it needs more or if you need to take some away. That's going to be the game changer in your nail art is really putting them side by side to compare what needs more, what needs less, and if you need to put more, take that time to put more. And after this, I'm not even gonna put any hearts. I'm not even gonna put any eyes or anything. This is more or less just like a filler heart that I'm putting on this nail. Once I'm done with this one, I'm going to be top coating and curing, and then this is going to be the final look.